Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Now today I'm going to put my masculinity to the test because I have to drive something pink. Very, very pink. I'm going to try it out, tell you what I like, tell you what I don't like, and see if I still feel like a man at the end of the day. So stick around, see what happens. So stick around, see what happens. This pink thing is the Toyota Yaris Cross Hybrid. It's been around in Singapore for more than 2 years now, but earlier this year, in 2023, local dealer Borneo Motors decided to spruce it up. So they came up with the Urban Palette Collection, which is a group of 8 new colours, including this one, Cherry Blossom. Now this pink is nice, but I personally like black. Black, pink, if only there was some way to put them together. But I have to say, whatever the colour, I quite like the way the Yaris Cross looks. I mean, it actually reminds me a little bit of a slightly robotic shark, and I think it looks a little bit aggressive. And when you have a small car that looks aggressive, I think the result is actually quite cute. By the way, when you see a Toyota badge and it's a little bit blue like this, that means it's a hybrid car, which this one is. Now over on the side here, you've got this black plastic cladding, which actually gives the car a rugged look, but seriously, only a crazy person would take a car like this off-road. 16-inch wheels, and I think this plastic on the side adds a little bit of nice contrast. So look at the way this rises up here. It gives the car a narrow waist. And I don't know if you can see this, but if you ever forget what car you're driving, you can just look here. Oh, I have a Yaris Cross. But my favorite angle is actually the back of the car, because you've got so much going on here. You've got this gently sloping rear windscreen, you've got a nice roof spoiler, and there's actually quite a lot of black plastic here, but when you look at it from afar, it actually forms quite a nice coherent trapezius shape. And I really like how these taillights sort of wrap around to the side of the car just to make the booty stand out a little bit more. And as far as I know, these don't actually light up, so they look nice, but they're kind of just here for show. But here's something quite important. Now this is a Yaris Cross, which means it is based on a Yaris. And a Yaris is actually a budget hatchback. That means this is not a big car, which I'm now going to show you, starting with the back. Okay, now getting on board isn't the easiest thing. I don't know if you can see, but the door doesn't actually open that wide. So if you're going to buy this car, you might want to cut down on your carbs a little bit. And notice, when I get on board, I have to dip my head a little bit, but once I am inside, I have to say I do have a decent amount of headroom, and my feet sort of fit nicely under the seat in front, and my knees still have some way to go before they touch the seat in front. So as a full-grown adult, I can still fit back here. But I think you should fit in only 2 full-grown adults back here, because 3 would be really tight. 2 is just nice. Apart from that, there's also no aircon vents back here, and also no USB charging ports, so this is really quite a basic car. But cars like this are supposed to be useful, practical, versatile, so let's see if this pink thing here can handle this red thing here. Now look at my manly strength as I heave it into the boot. And yeah, that's actually not too bad. You get 390 litres here, but in terms of luggage, you can get quite a big piece in here without any problems. But let me show you something else. Let me just do a Lufthansa here. And I want to show you how you can actually expand the space by lowering the boot floor. So you gain quite a lot of capacity, but you also gain some loading height. So when you put it back in, let's see, yeah, you can actually do that. You could probably fit another piece over here like that. So that's a win. But I have to say, I really don't like how cheap and flimsy this luggage cover feels. I mean, look at this. But at least it is compact and it's flat and it's light. So if you can manage to take it off its hooks here, which I can do in at least with at least some kind of dexterity. Yeah, you can tell I just I've got the hang of it here. Nope, I'm just happy I didn't break a fingernail here. Yeah, you can more or less sort of put it anywhere. So, okay, let's just put it here. And it is so flat and light. And finally, what kind of crossover would this be if you couldn't fold the rear seats, which you can do like so. Oh, and one more thing. We tend to think in terms of liters, number of luggage, but Toyotas tend to have this hook on the side here for your groceries, which is a nice practical touch. This video is not brought to you by Prudential. Now, what's the first thing you do when you get into your car? That's right, you gotta find a place. And actually, do a bottle of water here. This one actually decently sized, but for days when I'm super thirsty, I can still store something here like that. So first things first, let's do the fingernail test. Some of these plastics, oof. There's a nice bit of matte chrome here, which is a nice touch, but oh, it's not all bad. This one's quite nice. That one not so much. Okay, it does feel built down to a car. And it's actually definitely not a Lexus in here. Tell you what, some of these plastics feel like they're gonna last until the Merlion stops puking. So these driver displays are actually quite interesting. You've got this dial here with speed and your fuel level, engine temp, and then on the other side you've got your gear position as well as kind of the energy flows. And then you've got this central display here which tells you all sorts of things like what the hybrid system is doing or maybe what the driver assistance systems are doing. And the buttons on the steering wheel are actually really simple to use. I actually like them better than I do on the latest Lexus models. Up here you have an 8-inch infotainment screen and it is pretty basic, but you can run Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, although you still need one of these. I feel like a cowboy. I tell you what though, I really love how simple these aircon controls are. You just turn this knob for the fan speed, you turn this one for the temperature. But I tell you what, there's only one aircon zone in here, but it's going to be a cold zone because, trust me on this, you can just set it to 25, press auto, and that's that. It is that powerful. Okay, so time to see what this baby is like to drive. Now, first thing I notice is that when you sit in here, you're sort of slightly elevated, and that's a good thing because it means that you don't feel like this is such a small car. Now, I have to say I'm a really big fan of hybrid cars because you have the petrol engine and then you have the electric motor to assist the engine. And what I really like is that the energy for the motor is pretty much free because every time you slow down or you go downhill, it helps to fill up the battery. So the Yaris Cross has a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder engine, and together with the electric motor, you have 110 horsepower. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, and actually 0 to 100 takes 11.4 seconds. But I tell you what, when you're just sort of accelerating along, you can feel the electric motor helping the engine, and that can actually make the car feel quite lively. Now, as for the handling, the Yaris Cross is actually quite a small car, so it's naturally quite agile. And the steering's light and it's responsive, so you can really chuck it into corners. But honestly, there's not a lot of grip, and you can sometimes feel the body kind of bouncing around under you. So overall, I would say the handling is playful, but it's not precise. So overall, I would say this is actually quite a zippy and fun car to drive. But there is one thing I don't like. Now, can you hear that? When I'm sort of rolling along gently, okay, it's fairly quiet inside, but when you have to wake up the engine, you can really hear it. And in fact, it's not just the engine. You can hear a bit of wind noise, a bit of tire roar, and sometimes you can even hear a noise from other vehicles. So I don't think the drivetrain is like very noisy in itself, but I think the problem here is a lack of sound insulation. So overall, I think the Yaris Cross is a city car that's best enjoyed at city speeds. But actually the whole point of driving a hybrid car is not to go fast, but to go light on petrol. And with the Yaris Cross Hybrid, if you drive carefully and with a little bit of skill, you should be able to get more than 26 kilometers per litre. So that means that most people in Singapore will only have to open this thing once a month, sometimes twice a month. So let's summarize. Now, what I don't like about the Yaris Cross is that it's pretty narrow in the back, it's very basic inside, and it's actually quite noisy at speed. On the other hand, I really can see the appeal of a small car that's super user-friendly, has quite a practical boot, is zippy to drive, economical to run, and actually quite nice to look at. I mean, even the pink is growing on me. But I think this means something too. See, a lot of people in Singapore just want to buy a car that won't break down, has a very cold aircon, and uses very little fuel. And the Yaris Cross Hybrid is that car. But let me leave you with one pro motoring journalist tip. Now, if you really are going down to Toyota to test drive the Yaris Cross Hybrid, you should also check out this, the Corolla Altis. That's like the most classic Toyota ever. Now, it's not a crossover, so it's lower to the ground, and it's not a hybrid, and it's not as trendy. It definitely is not going to look good in pink. But it is roomier in the back, and it's nicer inside, and it's also quieter, even though it actually costs less. And that's the kind of practical thinking that makes you a typical Toyota customer. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you want to thank us, please remember to like this video or hit subscribe. We're just a new channel. We can really use your support. We'll see you next time. Bye. Some of these plastics feel like they're gonna last until Taylor Swift finds a husband. Tell you what, some of these plastics feel like they're gonna last until Xi Jinping is... I'm not gonna go there. I tell you what, some of these plastics feel like they're gonna last until COEs get back to $10,000.